Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson along with Mick Gillespie coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Big day of news with Nick Saban testing positive for COVID-19. I want to take your calls. I want to talk about this Iron Bowl matchup. And, there's plenty of storylines going into this big-time matchup between number one ranked Alabama and Auburn. We all know what happened last year between these two teams. Here's the show intro, and we'll catch you soon right here on Bama Insider, the Call-In Show.
This is BamaInsider.com, and coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, it's the Bama Insider Call-In Show, talking Alabama Crimson Tide football with your host, Kyle Henderson. So hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Here he is, from the Bama Insider Studio, Kyle Henderson.
Whoa, what an intro there for Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillespie in with Kyle Henderson. We're going to be taking your calls here shortly on Bama Insider. That was, my ribs and my chest was shaking when I heard those deep pipes coming at us for the Kyle Henderson show. And look, man, I'm pumped up. I'm just here to just come and hang out with you for a second and talk about the Iron Bowl. Obviously, Kyle, the big news today, Nick Saban has COVID. He's not going to be on the sideline. The good news is that what we've been told is that the symptoms are mild. Fingers crossed that it stays that way. Talking about another legendary head coach that has COVID right now, Philip Fulmer. Don't forget, Philip Fulmer has COVID as well. The Tennessee head coach from the past, athletic director, and a Hall of Famer. So, Kyle Henderson, what's up, man?
What's up, man? I mean, we've been on sporadically throughout the day, and I just uploaded Nick Saban's press conference from Wednesday night. He looked to be in good spirits. I mean, considering the circumstances that he's not going to be coaching in a game that everybody thinks about, 365, and that is the Iron Bowl against Auburn. Now, we all know what happened last year, and there's plenty of storylines going into this one, but no bigger storyline than Nick Saban not being on the sidelines. You and I got together today, and we talked about Steve Sarkisian, who will be the interim head coach for Alabama. And when you kind of look at Alabama's assistant coaches and guys who can step up, clearly Alabama has guys in waiting, ready to do this, but no bigger guy than Nick Saban. And but I think this team will rally. And I think sometimes when a big part of your team is missing, it's an opportunity for a lot of other guys to step up, especially on the coaching staff. And where Alabama is sitting right now, number one in the college football playoff rankings, number one in the AP top 25, number one in the coaches poll. I mean, this team is absolutely fantastic, running at all cylinders. Mac Jones has orchestrated this offense, as big time as you can get. And then, of course, you have Najee Harris, a guy that sometimes almost we forget to talk about because the offense has just been so balanced and so dynamic. But again, he has 16 touchdowns and a guy that I think he's certainly going to have a big time game in this Iron Bowl. Call-in line number is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. We got John behind the glass. He'll take your calls, and then away we go. Mick, I built up some storylines kind of coming into this game, and there's plenty of them. And we also have, kind of some quick hits on the Auburn Tigers as well. But kind of leading off after that first and second one, it's clearly a redemption game for Alabama.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, look, I want to see Alabama get an early lead because then we're going to have a heavy dose of Najee. I mean, it's going to be, Najee left, Najee right down the middle. Auburn's game plan's got to be to get ahead of Alabama so that they can try to make them a little bit more one-dimensional. They've got a problem stopping the ball, but this game's still about Mac Jones. He threw the 2 pick sixes last year. I felt like, I could tell you played a clip earlier today of him after the game, and you could tell he felt that way too. He could have done things better. He could have limited those bad mistakes that he made. He still did a lot of great things last year in the Iron Bowl, but he made 2 crucial mistakes, and it cost Alabama the game. This guy is ready to get back underneath center against the Auburn Tigers. He's ready to win this football game. I think that Alabama is as prepared as I've ever seen him. They might not have Nick Saban on the sideline, but I'll tell you what, I don't think that's going to really hurt their focus. I can't wait to see redemption for the team. And I know I just cut right into the second thing, redemption for the Mac attack.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for Mac Jones to really showcase himself on another big time stage. I mean, look, the game's on CBS. Everybody's going to be dialed into the 2020 Iron Bowl. It's going to be very strange not seeing Nick Saban on the sideline, but you're still going to see the Alabama Crimson Tide in full strength. I mean, besides Jalen Waddle and Trey Sanders, I mean, this team has been very, very healthy, which you really haven't seen in years past, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I know the defense, a lot of people have been, very critical about their play, and rightfully so, because the goal is perfection when you talk about the Alabama defense. But overall, the defense is very healthy coming into this game. I believe that we will see LeBron Ray back in action, which should be an added boost for the Alabama defense. You look at guys that need to step up in a game like this. Will Dylan Moses really rise up after his performance against Kentucky? Will we see continued high-level play from Christian Harris, the young sophomore at the inside linebacker position? And what will we see from some of these freshmen in a big-time game like this? For example, I look to guys like Malachi Moore, Will Anderson, guys that have been really playing through the roof. And as opportunistic as Malachi Moore has been playing, don't be surprised if you see a big-time pick six or something like that, because these guys can certainly rise up to the occasion and make big plays at any type of the game. The defense through the last since the Georgia game, I mean, what have they allowed? 17 against Tennessee. Remember, we showed that stat earlier today, Mick, and just 3 points against Kentucky. So really 20 points just since the second half against Georgia. Really dynamic defense. They're trending upward. Now, this will present an opportunity to stop Bo Nix, of course. But my point is the defense is trending in the right direction. But it's a big time opportunity for Mac Jones, and I think he knows that coming in to a game like this, that all eyes are going to be on him, and he has an opportunity to really steal the stage of the college football world on Saturday.
Well, if you want to win the Heisman, whether you're Najee or you're Mac, these are the games that you got to play in. Now, Auburn's ranked 22nd. Alabama's a 24-point favorite, but Nick Saban's not going to be there, and it doesn't really matter. It's the Iron Bowl. You got to go out there and make those plays. You look for the opportunity to have that Heisman moment. Everyone's going to be watching this game. This is a season where we really haven't had a lot of really compelling college games. The only one that I can think of right now, a handful, maybe Texas A&M and Florida, Alabama and Georgia, but Notre Dame and Notre Dame and Clemson, right? So those are the three that kind of stand out. This is the best rivalry in college football by far. And, it used to be Notre Dame and USC, not anymore, right? It used to be Michigan and Ohio State. Not anymore. Ohio State wins all of them. This game has been, and as balanced as anyone's been against Nick Saban, right? He's 8-4 against the Tigers, and Gus Malzahn's beaten him 3 times. So if obviously Nick Saban's not going to be there because of COVID, but this is definitely his team. And Auburn's won 2 out of the last 3 of these games. This one, again, Alabama comes in as the number 1 team in the country. 4 times Alabama has come in under Nick Saban as the number 1 team in the country to play Auburn, and twice they've lost. So they're coming in at number 1 again, and this is going to be really interesting to see how it breaks out. But I'm curious myself with Sarkisian bringing in so much experience. He was the offensive coordinator for one of the greatest offenses in college football history at USC. Then he was a head coach at Washington, won football games there, came back to USC as the head coach, did well there. He didn't get fired because of on-field performance. He had some off-field issues, and he's had to battle his personal life back to get to where he is right now. Alabama's offensive coordinator, second go-around, went to the NFL, didn't work out great with the Falcons, but since he's been back, he's been the best offensive coordinator in college football. You got to believe it, the way that this team's balanced, the attack that they have. I don't know what his future is. Does he want to be a head coach, or does he like being the highest paid assistant in college with this, this amount of amazing players, the riches that Alabama puts out on the field? That's a question to answer. But I'll tell you what, if he wants to be a head coach, he almost got this opportunity against Georgia. It was a false positive. He's getting that chance now, and I think mentally he's going to be more prepared now because he went through the Georgia week expecting to be the head coach. This time it's really going to happen.
I think when you have a quality coach like Steve Sarkisian in waiting, that, he's ready at all times, right? I mean, this is a guy who Nick Saban clearly trusts. This is a guy who Nick Saban clearly values, and a guy that Nick Saban has seen really transform his career. We talked about it earlier today, what he's done since leaving USC, and get this guy as a head coach in waiting. Is he going to be the next head coach at Alabama way down the road? We have no idea. But in terms of this guy leading Alabama on Saturday, 100% confidence in him. And I think everybody would probably say the same thing. Steve Sarkisian can really orchestrate this offense under Mac Jones and distribute such an even attack. And I think that's what's made Alabama so successful over the last couple seasons, is their ability to be a balanced team. And Steve Sarkisian has done a great job with these quarterbacks. Mac Jones, look at the way that he played from a year ago just to today. Look at the way that Tua Tagovailoa played. All these guys continue to progress in the right direction, and it all starts up front as well. I mean, we don't talk about the offensive line enough, I guess, and that's our fault, because the offensive line that Alabama has, and even Gus Malzahn, who was during his press conference, he said, you know what, that Alabama offensive line is the best in the SEC. He's absolutely right. I mean, the offensive tackles on the outside make it a lot easier for Mac Jones to stay comfortable and distribute the football downfield. Now, one of my biggest questions kind of going into this game, and I think we talked about this, maybe a night or so ago. We've had so many shows, but if Auburn is able to take Devontae Smith out of this game, which they've been able to do to other wide receivers, and there's no one, of course, like Devontae Smith that they faced this year, who will step up for Alabama? Because remember, Slade Bolden probably questionable. You have John Mechie, and then you have maybe Javon Baker. So is there going to be a wide receiver to step up? Is it going to be Jahlil Billingsley, a guy that you really like, Mick, that really shined the other night against Kentucky, 3 receptions for 78 yards?
Yeah, I like Billingsley, but I like Baker even more. And I'm really excited about the fact that we're going to get to see Baker in action. Both of those guys, young targets, are going to be the center point of this Alabama program next year and moving forward. Baker on a lot of teams would be a star already, right? Now he's going to get that opportunity, and you hope everyone's getting healthy. This is the game that you want to be healthy for. This is the one that you want to be able to get in there and be the guy in. I think for Smitty, though, this is a great test for him. If he wants to be one of the top picks in the NFL draft, he needs to do his thing just like he always does against one of the best defenders in college football in the SEC. They're going to try to take him out of the game, and Waddle's been that guy. Henry Ruggs has been that guy in the past, now Smitty's the guy. So we're going to see exactly what happens when he's matched up against the best of the best. I'm curious about this matchup. Something tells me that Devontae Smith is going to be just as dynamic as he was before. And I'm looking forward to that battle. But don't forget about John Mechie either. And I saw that Jasper just posted that. Look, he has been kind of this other guy, Mechie, who has waited in the wings. We saw him in the 8A game a couple of years ago as the MVP. And we're like, oh, my goodness, he's not even going to play because of the 4 horsemen that Alabama has at the receiver spot. But this guy waited his turn, he's gotten in there. He's made some big catches. The best part about all of this is that Mac Jones is going to make the right decision. What's going to happen, though, guys, in my opinion, is you're going to see a lot more Najee Harris. Auburn had a tough time, I mentioned this before, against Tennessee stopping the run. And I bet you're going to see a lot of Najee, whether he's running the football or catching it. And to me, that when they have to try to key in on Najee, that's when all these other guys are going to start running wild. I think Alabama offensively could have an enormous game against an Auburn team that is banged up.
We got our first call of the night, and it's actually Cam from Brunswick, GA, wants to talk about the Iron Bowl. We'll take the call right now. Cam, what's good, man? Thanks for joining the show. Guys? Yeah, appreciate you joining us, man. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, just called to talk about the Iron Bowl. I think this is the biggest game of the year besides the Georgia game. Our hats are going to hang on this game. And, this is something that, as an Alabama Auburn fan, you think about for 365 days a year.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look at the Iron Bowl overall, everyone has said it, right? I mean, this is a game that you think about 365, a game that you absolutely have to win. And the players have said it before. I mean, when you leave this program, people want to know what your record was against Auburn, against Tennessee, and winning national titles, right? Those are the 3 big ones. So this game, what it holds on Saturday is so much weight, so much value. It's for bragging rights. There's national implications because Alabama has to continue to stay perfect because that's the goal at Alabama. It's not, there's nothing less. And I love that about being here in Tuscaloosa is that the goals are so high yearly that, there's a small margin for error. And I love that about the program. Alabama is a 25-point favorite in this game. That's a lot of points. I'm curious to see if that number slides without Nick Saban.
Yeah, I mean, it may slide some, but, there's some things I'm really thankful for, especially for Alabama football. I mean, Alabama or Nick Saban has loaded this staff up with great coaches, and he's surrounded by former head coaches, as we know that with Steve Sarkisian. And with them being former head coaches, what better of a time for them to step in during something to do with, COVID, and them stepping in. And, I think Sarkisian is he's looking to win big against Auburn. And this might be his debut for a future team, maybe. I hate to say that, but, because I love Sark as a coach, but there are teams out there, schools that are looking for a head coach, and he's possibly making his debut, and he's going to try to make a name for himself.
Yeah, I think people know about Sarkisian clearly. I mean, this is a guy who is a big name. And as I mentioned earlier today, when we were talking about Steve Sarkisian, he's the highest paid assistant coach in the country, $2.7 million. And rightfully so. I mean, this guy has done a fantastic job with Alabama's offense in a day of offense. And I think you're right. It is an opportunity to show what he can do when leading the team. And I think it's another great opportunity for Alabama fans to see, another quality coach that they have potentially in waiting. Now, I think Nick Saban is a long way from hanging it up, but I think in the back of your minds, if Steve Sarkisian is taken care of financially and he could be the next guy, then so be it. But it's a great opportunity for Steve Sarkisian to show what he can do along with the defense. And I also want to see what other defensive coach can step up. I would assume that there's going to be another defensive analyst that steps onto the on-the-field role. We don't know who that is going to be, so I guess it's kind of just stay tuned for that. But, with Nick Saban out, I mean, there's so much quality control that I think Alabama will be just fine. What else you got, Cam?
Yeah, man, it's not like it's not like Nick Saban got fired and we're losing, the coaching staff split. I mean, we're really set up to go this game, so. Alabama leads this series 46-37, and ESPN has predicted Alabama with a 92% chance to win this game. But we know, as Alabama fans, we can't go by predictions and favorites and over/under and a spread for this game, right? So, we know that this game come down to the last second. Back in 2010, I really thought that Alabama had the better team with Cam Newton. And it turned out a couple of turnovers, the game went the other way, and look what happened. So, we really got to be confident, and Alabama's really good, but this game is going to hang its hat on turnovers and momentum. And when the other team turns the ball over, the momentum seems to in this game swing the other way big time. And I don't think it's going to have the crowd and the fans are really going to have an effect, but probably not as much as what it was before COVID. But, I think Alabama's going to do a good job, and I think they're going to take care of business, man. And, Auburn's really got a good team. Kevin Steele, he's basically kept Auburn in every game they played in. And, I think that Auburn's defense is really they're better than what, people think. And, they're really going to try to make a showing. And I also think that Gus Malzahn, he's playing for his job. He knows if he loses to Alabama big this game, he's going to be on the hot seat. And Auburn's not going to be too happy if he gets beat by Auburn or gets beat by Alabama this bad.
All right, Cam. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you leading off the show tonight. You have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your loved ones, and we'll definitely catch you soon, probably on the post-game show after Alabama and Auburn.
God bless you, Kyle.
All right, take it easy. God bless you too, man. Yeah, roll tide. Thanks. That was Cam in Georgia. And I think he hit on some great points. Now, look, the call-in line number 205-850-0883. Definitely update your phone book. Call-in line is open. We got a couple calls in the queue, and we'll slide those over. And I think, Cam leading off, talking about Steve Sarkisian is a wonderful starting point because I do think it's one of the biggest storylines right after Nick Saban not coaching in this game is who's going to coach in place of Nick Saban. Now, is Sarkisian going to call the offense? Yes, he's going to call the offense. And the defense, when you look at the defensive coaches, you got Pete Golding, you got Sal Sincere, you got Charles Kelly, you got Carl Scott, potentially Charlie Strong. So there's a lot of guys on the Alabama defensive side that are certainly going to rise up, guys with a lot of coaching experience on that side. And I know Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach, so he's going to have his eyes tuned in to the defense. But, we'll see how it goes. We got our next caller, and we're going to take that now, and that is Sean, our man Sean from Huntsville. Sean, what's good, man? I appreciate you calling in.
Hey, Kyle, how you guys doing tonight, man?
Doing great, man. There's a lot to talk about, and obviously prayers up for Coach Saban. And, we know he'll be good, but I know there's a lot of people during this time of year and usually always that are going through difficult times. So just we want you to know that our prayers are with you. And, we want you to know that we're thinking about you if you're out there. And we appreciate you guys tuning in the show, man. But, Sean, you're on, man. Go ahead, buddy.
Definitely want to give prayers to Coach Saban and his family, man. Hope he does better. I'm praying he's okay, and I know he's going to be glued to the TV just like the rest of us. Wanted to give a quick point real fast. Like I was saying last night, I got some concerns about Pete, and I'm hoping. I know Coach Saban is probably went over everything, and the game plan is probably in concrete right now. I'm hoping Pete Golding keep Gus behind the sticks as far as possible. We can keep these guys in third and long. I feel like we'll be just fine. I know Gus has got some confidence going against us. The guy's 2-2 against us in the last 4 years. I know he's going to have that thing cranked all the way up, trying to get as many plays as he possibly can in a half. But the one bigger concern I have, even outside of Pete, I played ball before, college ball. I understand how it is in halftime. At halftime, usually in college, you go with your position coaches. And you go over the adjustments that you have during the game. I'm just wondering how they're going to do that with, Coach Saban usually spreads the adjustments out. The position coaches relay the message down to the people, each guy in each position. Being that Sark is going to be the head man, is he going to still go with the offense? Is he going to oversee everybody? Is he going to trust Pete just to run the defense and take care of himself? That's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure those guys have already went over it, but that's going to be extremely interesting.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I'm actually putting up a photo right now of Nick Saban and kind of the watchful eye that he has over the defense. I think this is one of the best photos that came in throughout this whole season so far. And you can just see how involved Nick Saban is in the defense. And I think we all know that it's Saban's defense, but this photo right here, he's inside the schematics of the defense 100%. And I think you're starting to see Alabama's defense improve because Nick Saban has somehow adjusted that with Pete Golding. And I think to your point, that's a wonderful question during halftime. Let's say the game is tight. We have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, the spread is 25. I think you throw that out the window for a rivalry game. Alabama, sure, top to bottom is the better team, but it's a rivalry game. We all know what happened last year. We all know what happened every single year with this game. Should Alabama have to make adjustments, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Sarkisian? Who's going to be the guy that can step up for this team coaching-wise? And I think that is going to be Sarkisian. He does have that head coaching experience. But I also talked about this earlier, Sean. This is another opportunity for Alabama to go to their leaders, right, within their offense and defense. This is a time when a Mac Jones rises up. I know people have been very critical of Dylan Moses, but from what I understand and how the players feel, at least a couple of weeks ago, they feel that Dylan Moses is still that alpha, right? Still that guy that is a senior vet. Has he been playing his best? No, he hasn't. But the leadership, he has that. He's had that since day one, pretty much at Alabama. You have guys like Patrick Surtain. Yeah. So guys, it'll be an opportunity for the leaders to rise up.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, Kyle. I think Dylan will step up and take even more of a leadership role, knowing that Coach Saban is out, defensive mind. I think Pete Golding is going to put it in his lap. Here you go. This is the plan. I need it executed. I think we're going to be fine, man. We can keep Gus behind the sticks as far as we can, keep him in third and long. I think Alabama, I don't think they'll be able to score with us. I think they've had some problems on their offensive line. Matter of fact, I know they've had some issues on their offensive line, kind of patchwork. But they have a very, very, very – this probably would be the best defense we've faced in a couple of weeks, especially in the red zone. Those guys are very aggressive in the red zone. And if I know them, I mean, I would. they definitely going to try to have a safety over the top for Devontae. So I'm praying that somebody else step up. In my mind, Javon, Mechie, he's going to get his single coverage. So maybe Mechie will step up and show us something else too this week, man. I got faith in the guys.
Well, kind of when you look at, the schematics of the game and how it could go. And Jarek, we see you in the queue, man. Don't worry. We'll get to you soon, man. So be patient. I'm on with Sean right now from Huntsville. We appreciate it. I think this is and we talked about this before just a little bit. And I think it was last night, Sean, Auburn has done a great job taking away the team's opposing wide receiver. At least they have for the last couple games. Devontae Smith was targeted 13 times. And I felt when watching Alabama, even against Kentucky, there was times where am I wrong on this? I felt like Mac Jones was almost forcing the ball a couple times, which I haven't seen him do throughout this season. That was kind of being critical of him. He has to be able to be more balanced, in my opinion, and he's done that for the most part. But I think, if he continues just to go to Devontae Smith and Devontae Smith is somehow shut down, what is he going to do? Is he going to go to dump offs? Is he going to go ground heavy to Najee? Or like you said, is it going to be John Mechie, maybe to Javon Baker or Jaleel Billingsley to step up in a game like this?
That's completely correct. A lot of times this past week, I see he forced the ball down into coverage when Devontae really wasn't open. And he's kind of skipped his check downs. He didn't throw it out to the running back. You had Slade come across the middle. A lot of times the running back, Najee, be out in the flats wide open. He was trying to go deep. But I think Mac, being the player he is very controlled. You get greedy sometimes as a quarterback, especially when you're playing with talent like we have. So it's normal. But we'll be fine, man. But, Kyle, I appreciate you taking my call again, man. Respect what you're doing. You're looking dapper there, brother. Keep it up. Got your drip and swag going. I appreciate that. We can continue to support, man, and continue to tune in.
All right, man. Thank you so much. That was Sean from Huntsville. Hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving with your loved ones. And, we appreciate all the support that you drop. And how about this? Sherry, what's going on? We appreciate it. Thank you very much for the super chat. All super chats go a long way. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that make Bama Insider go. I know sometimes it seems like, I might be the face of BamaInsider.com, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes. We got John Sanford behind the glass taking your call. So when you call in, he'll definitely say hello. But Sherry, it really means a great deal to us that you would send us a super chat. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family. All right. So Auburn, Alabama this weekend. There's a lot to talk about. Nick Saban, he had his press conference tonight. We'll pipe that in, but we got to make sure that we get Jarek from Buffalo into the show. Always a fantastic caller. So 3, 2, 1, we got Jarek. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Kyle?
Man,
what's going on, man?
It's so nice to hear from you. I know we got a wrap for a little bit last night after the college football playoff rankings, but my goodness, there's some even bigger news than Alabama being the king of college football. The GOAT is not going to be coaching with Alabama this weekend, or at least kind of in theory, but he'll be there in spirit or however he can. Impact with Saban not being in the game, Jarek. What's your take on that?
It's a huge impact, and the reason why is because Gus Malzahn, he's going to get involved, right? Chad Morris is the offensive coordinator. He's been, coach. He's been the majority. He spent the majority with the offensive play calling. But if you don't think that Gus Malzahn is going to take advantage of this opportunity, and he's not going to, maybe not be the person that's going to be in charge of the play calling, but he's going to be heavily involved in this offense. He's going to do a lot of misdirections. He's going to do a lot of misdirections. He's going to, have some schematics with the offensive line. He's going to do a lot of pulling. He's going to rely a lot on Tank Bigsby, the read option. He is going to do whatever it takes to confuse Alabama's defense, to have to include the fast pace. I know that's kind of the missing from, as far as the challenge that this defense has been facing is the fast paced offense. That's going to be back for sure. And of course with Ashley, with Swartz being in the slot, and he's going to have those matchups with Malachi Moore and with DeMarco Hellams and Daniel Wright. He's going to have those matchups where he's on those one-on-one situations. Bo Nix is going to have situations where Seth Williams is going to, how Alabama is when they run a 4-2-5 type of defense. Mm-hmm. They love to have man-on-man coverage. Patrick Surtain, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's going to be on Seth Williams. But even remember last year, he struggled with Seth Williams last year. Yep. Patrick Surtain is a great corner, but he struggles with physical. He struggles with physical receivers. Seth Williams is the guy that, no matter if he's open or if he's just completely just bodied up, Bo Nix, he's just going to throw the ball up because he's the bailout guy. He's that tough security blanket, and it's gonna. And if Auburn gets balanced, if the misdirection, if the confusion of this Alabama defense continues, at least in this football game, it's going to be bad for Bama. So they're gonna. So it's definitely a huge impact of losing Nick Saban. But one thing that has to happen is that Pete Golding has got to make adjustments. He's got to make those adjustments. He has got to find a way to keep Auburn on their heels. He's got to find a way, because if Auburn continues to get success and everything is working in their favor, Auburn's going to have a great shot to win this football game.
On the line with Jarek from Buffalo. Jarek, I wanted to ask you about one particular player for Auburn, and he stepped up in a big way last year for the Tigers. That's Bo Nix. It seemed like when he needed to make a magical throw, it was a magical throw beyond our even wildest imaginations. Seems like a player that rises up in games like this. Alabama with the 25-point favorite in this game, but Bo Nix is the type of player that gave Alabama a lot of trouble last year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But remember, Kyle, he threw for less than 200 yards that game.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix, the reason why he was so successful in that game was because of the run game. I mean, they averaged over 6 yards per carry against this Alabama defensive front last year. And during this time, Alabama couldn't stop the run. This was a time where Bama's defense was broken. They came fresh, with the LSU, not came fresh off of, but the LSU game kind of really exposed how bad that running attack is. And not to mention that the offensive line from Auburn were pushing Alabama's defensive front 3-4 yards. It was straight power football. They didn't really need to do a lot of the misdirection and stuff like that, even though they did run a lot of screen plays and try to make it a lot more easier for Bo Nix. Just a lot of things that Bama's defense couldn't stop. Gus Malzahn did a phenomenal job of including it into their offense. This time around, though, I do believe that this defensive front is a little bit stronger. We've seen this group get stronger and kind of hold their own. That's the key to this football game, Kyle. If you're going to beat Bo Nix, you got to make him a passer, right? Bo Nix, he definitely threw those magical 50-50 balls and he just threw it up, but that's the game plan. You have got to make him a passer. You got to hold containment because he's quick as a cat. The dude runs a 4.3, so you got to contain him. The edge defenders have got to somehow contain him and stay disciplined. You have to force him inside of the pocket, because if you force him inside the pocket, you trap him inside the pocket, he panics. His footwork is all over the place. He tries to find a way to try to get out of it, and eventually he's going to throw you an interception. He's going to force passes. So the key for Alabama is that they have to force him to be a pocket passer. Make him throw the football, because eventually he's going to throw you a mistake. I don't know if it's accidental or if it's on purpose, but it's like he has that Brett Favre mentality where he's gonna throw you an interception, and it's up to you to either catch it or not. Alabama did not do that last year, or they didn't do a good enough job of doing that, because they couldn't get any pressure at all to Bo Nix. And even if they did, he would scramble outside of the pocket and he would throw those passes up. Force him inside that pocket and make him a passer.
Love it. Great breakdown. I always like to kind of hear your take on the upcoming game and the schematics of it, Jarek. The call-in line number is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Plenty of lines open right now. We got John Sanford behind the glass. So definitely call in and, we'll talk this Iron Bowl game. And, the main storyline, as we talked about to open the show, was, of course, Nick Saban not being with the team on game time. And that's something that, it's been a long time since Saban hasn't been on the sidelines with the Alabama Crimson Tide, and how it's going to affect Alabama going against Gus Malzahn, who has continued to be, honestly, one of Saban's kryptonite in the SEC and across the spectrum of college football. Jarek, if we kind of look to impact players for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I bring this up for one particular reason. Last season against Alabama and Auburn, I'm trying to look for the photo right now, but it was Jalen Waddle that stepped up in a game like that, right? I know that Alabama didn't come out on top, but remember the game that Jalen Waddle had. He had the kick. He had, the kick for a touchdown, and he was just phenomenal every single time he touched the football. Who do you feel that guy is going to be for Alabama? Do you feel it's going to be maybe a Najee Harris, or would you say maybe a Devontae Smith? It's going to be somebody.
Kyle, I'm going to bring up a name that not a lot of people are bringing up. I think that's Jaleel Billingsley. I think Jaleel Billingsley becomes that player that steps up for the Crimson Tide. And he's very important, because Slade Bolden, I don't know about his health status, But, as a slot receiver, he doesn't really threaten the defense. I think Jaleel Billingsley is a mismatch because you're talking about a tight end that runs a 4.6. That's a really good. I've seen his route pattern from last week. He was really good. He's a very good route runner. And I think that if you put him in the slot, you go up against some of their safeties. They're not good man. They're not good man coverage type of safeties. So you need to have certain players that are a mismatch. Billingsley is that guy. Of course, I would say another impactful player is definitely Emil Ekiyor. He's been the best offensive lineman in this entire group. I've been super impressed of how far he has come compared to from what we've seen him and when he came off the bench. So the running game has to get going. I think they're definitely going to run the ball a lot more than we've seen in the past. Mac Jones he can't force passes. We've kind of seen that the last couple of weeks, and I think the biggest reason why for that is because when you're missing that explosive threat in Jalen Waddle, it makes your life easier. Bama's offense went from unstoppable to now it's a good offense, but you can do a good job against it. You can slow it down only because you can take that threat away with Devontae Smith. John Mechie's not a good number 2 receiver. He's a guy that's still learning the game, but he's had problems when it comes to going against jamming type of corners. He needs safeties or nickels to be on him that doesn't really jam him in order for John Mechie to be that good receiver. So I like a guy like Jaleel Billingsley, with a guy that has a good route tree pattern, great speed, and a guy that we've seen has hands and has the athletic ability. I think he would be a great mismatch, and I think Steve Sarkisian knows that. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Jaleel Billingsley becomes the player of the game.
You know what? We're on with Jarek from Buffalo, and I love that take. I've been a big fan of Jaleel Billingsley for several I guess a couple years now since he's been here. I mean, he's not even an upperclassman, but the way that he runs his routes, he's kind of like a hybrid. He's not quite as big as a Forrestall in terms of his size wise, weight wise. But he runs great routes, great hands. And everybody saw that hurdle that he did. So we got to see a splash of him. Thank you so much for calling in, Jarek. We'll definitely catch you for the post-game show following Alabama and Auburn. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yep, no problem.
All right, take it easy. Man, I love the callers are amazing. I mean, you get a call like that from Jarek, and then you get Sean from Huntsville. I mean, those guys obviously come with it from the schematic standpoint, and I think that's what makes the show so great. So I really appreciate all of you guys jumping in on the show, calling in, and the call-in line is at the bottom of the screen, which is 205-850-0883. Call-in line is open, and get your calls talking about the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, which will take place on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. on CBS. Key storylines, we talked about Saban being out of this game with COVID-19. It'll be interesting to see how Alabama kind of rallies. And I think it's going to be a positive for this group in terms of energy, because I think they're going to play for coach. We talked about Steve Sarkisian being the interim head coach while Saban is out for however long he's out for. I believe, it'll be a 10-day period. So theoretically, depending on what happens with next weekend, you could see Nick Saban back in action. But, we'll just take it game by game at this point. We talked about how this is a redemption game for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We all know what happened last year, a game that I was down in. I mean, one of the, in terms of an exciting game, I mean, it was on level, 100 out of 10. I mean, it was just a back and forth classic Iron Bowl game where you just, you never knew what was going to happen, filled with big plays and missed opportunities. We also talked about the fact that it's a redemption game for Mac Jones. This guy threw 2 interceptions that were returned for touchdowns during the 2019 Iron Bowl, in a game that was really his first opportunity on a large stage. And, I think he comes into this game at Bryant-Denny, and I think it's another opportunity for him to really prove just how much he's improved. We all know that he doesn't really even have to prove how much he's improved, but I think just in terms of redemption and showing what he's got in the tank, that's something that certainly Mac Jones has an opportunity to do on Saturday, and he has enough weapons to do that. I like the point that Mick hit on earlier in this game, and but I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, and that's with Najee Harris. But I thought it was such an excellent point because of the fact that Najee Harris, I think towards the later part of the season, became really if you look kind of towards the 2019 season, he was so dynamic towards the later part of the year. And that's when he kind of emerged as that. He's always been an every down back, but a guy who could just really take over the game. I love how Steve Sarkisian, when, Mac Jones was trying to find his rhythm, that Najee Harris just really took over. And I think if Alabama really needed him to at any point, we all know that he could. And how nice was it to see some of those younger running backs last week? My goodness, Jace McClellan and Roy Dale Williams, those guys certainly did their thing as well. Call-in line is open. 205-850-0883 is the call-in line number. We're talking key storylines for Alabama and Auburn. Improved Alabama defense. Look, the way that this defense has played at half from Georgia to up until now has been incredible. They've only allowed 20 points, 0 against Georgia in that second half. They only allowed 17 to Tennessee, and then they allowed 3 points to Kentucky, and then they had the goose egg against Mississippi State. And then this final point in terms of the storylines is I feel that the special teams needs to continue their strong play. I think the way that Will Reichert has played has been phenomenal for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You look at Charlie Scott, the way he punted the ball against Kentucky, his average was 46. Now that's a 10 plus average from his previous games where he was averaging like 34 or something like that. So that's been an added bonus. And I think the special teams needs to continue to play near perfect and perfect. I mean, it's a pivotal component of each game. And I think Alabama fans are going to be happy when they see Devontae Smith maybe returning punts in this particular game because, you need playmakers. You need guys that can bust a game open, and Devontae Smith could and is that guy. I want to pipe in some sound real quick and that I have of Nick Saban, and that is from this evening. Now, Saban was obviously posted up at his home in quarantine, but he did come out and talk to the media. Here's that press conference in case you missed it. But, of course, you can watch it in its entirety right here on Bama Insider on our YouTube channel. Here's Nick Saban from earlier this evening.
Their energy, their eye discipline, the preparation they have for a game like this is really, really important to having the right mindset when you get in the game. Because in rivalry games, a lot of times you beat yourself because you can't maintain focus, and you need that in preparation because that really helps you, when you get there. So we're really trying to stay focused on what we need to do to prepare our guys. And I watched practice from here today. I was in the meetings today, so none of that really is any different. So it's senior day on Saturday. We have 17 players that will be a part of the pregame festivities. These guys have made a great contribution to the program. Their record is 45-4 in the last 4 years, with the national championship in 2017 and the SEC championship in 2018. They've done a great job of being great ambassadors for the university on and off the field, in the classroom. And most are on track to graduate, so we're very proud of that. On a sad note, our thoughts and prayers are out to the family and friends of Roddy Harrell, who, was a walk-on player here, a linebacker from 09 to 12. He also worked in the weight room for a little bit for us, and, a fine young man. And certainly, our condolences to his family. Hate to see somebody who has such, great future and potential have something like this happen. So I'd also like to take the opportunity to wish all of our fans and our supporters a very happy Thanksgiving. This is a great time for all of us to sort of, think about and have gratitude for all the things that we have. I know, a lot of time we spend a lot of time thinking about the things we don't have, but my God, we all have a lot to be thankful for, and I think this is a great holiday to make sure we remember all those things.
Okay, with that, guys, we will get things started with.
All right, we'll come back to that. So that was Nick Saban from this evening, and you can watch that press conference in its entirety. But we got Nate from Kentucky wants to talk about the Iron Bowl, and we'll take that call right now. Nate, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining the show. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. What's up, Kyle? Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
How's it going tonight?
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much for calling into the show. There's so much to talk about. I mean, I woke up this morning and, it's the Iron Bowl. So we're all getting ready, game planning. And then, we get the email from the university that says Nick Saban has tested positive with COVID. So obviously everything changed, and we were putting together content. But I appreciate you calling in, man. What's your take on this weekend's game?
Man, I tell you, like you said last year, if you take away, I know it's a couple big plays, pick sixes, but man, Mac threw it around pretty well last year. And, I think, he's going to be on a mission this year to especially limit those mistakes and get it to our playmakers and make plays. Just first thing, want to get you kind of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think when you look at a player like Mac Jones, I mean, the thing that I continue to talk about is leadership. And I think a game like this, leadership is not to go overstated. I mean, you need your leaders to step up in a game like this. And Mac Jones clearly has it. And hey, Tobias, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That means a lot to us that you would super chat us, man. So thank you very much. But getting back to Mac Jones, I think when you look at him and just kind of the leadership perspective and what he's done for Alabama's offense has been monumental. I mean, he's kept this offense roaring. I mean, even better than they were, the past couple years ago. And if you were to ask me after Tua left, if the offense would still be as dynamic once Tua left, I would have said no. And I would have been extremely confident. But you look at what Mac Jones has continued to do. And yeah, I get it. It's because of Mac Jones and it's because of the offensive line. It's because of Najee Harris. But a lot of that too is because of Steve Sarkisian. So I think it's kind of a combination of things. But Mac Jones has just been fantastic. And this is a game where you look to leadership, and Alabama has that leadership on offense. It's not only Mac Jones, it's Landon Dickerson. It's Najee Harris. It's Devontae Smith. That offense is so poised, and it'll provide another set of opportunities for the defense to rise up as well. I know we don't talk about the defense as much, but you still have your leaders back there. Patrick Surtain, Dylan Moses. Those guys have played an awful bunch of football. So what else is on your mind, man?
You spot on with it, man. Other thing, you hate to lose Coach Saban. He's the GOAT, of college football, probably coaching football in general, man. But the one thing, kind of looking at it, the fact that we had the false positive, the Georgia week, he missed some time there. I do think it helps, man. The coaching staff's dealt with it a little bit before. And, just kind of your take. I think Sarkisian and the boys will be ready to roll, man. They're going to rally around and win this for Coach Saban. Hey, appreciate you, Kyle, man. Appreciate all you guys do. Love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Roll damn tide, brother.
All right, roll tide, man. Thank you so much, Nate. I appreciate it. I think Nate brings up a good point. Now, check this out. Saban is always about game planning. And I think when he tested, that false positive before the Georgia game, and he had to sit out those couple days, maybe they had a game plan for it, right? But I think after they went past that and kind of experienced, okay, look, this is a reality that's hitting everybody. So let's have a clear plan in place, because Saban is all about planning and always about being one step ahead. Remember, we've talked about this several times. Everybody's out there playing checkers. He's out there playing chess. So I think in this particular setup, Alabama went to their clear strategy. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And they had every single thing organized so that Sarkisian would just step in seamlessly. And I bet you it goes past Sarkisian, because let's face it, there could be other guys based off contact tracing. So Nick Saban is a mastermind when it comes to planning. And I think, just like Nate was saying, I think them having those couple days to kind of maybe scramble, and I doubt they even scrambled because Alabama is so organized, but I bet they had a better mindset to come into this particular situation and be ready to go. Now, I get it. There's no perfect time for COVID to hit your program. I've talked about it before. I knew that COVID would hit Alabama at some point, and there's going to be other guys down the road probably that this does affect. But the way that Alabama will move through Auburn, I think, will be more seamless than we could imagine. Now, I know it's going to be different for the players, for the fans, for everybody involved to not see Nick Saban, but this is the Bama factor. And look at this. Nick Saban, what he's done at college football right now is incredible. And I keep on saying this because it matters so much. Number one in the AP, number one in the coaches poll, number one in the college football playoff rankings, number one in the rivals.com recruiting rankings, right? No other program can say that. And Nick Saban is so consistent year after year. Look at LSU's program right now, right? After 1 year of one of the most dominant college football teams we've seen, look at where they are right now. Look at Nick Saban's program. Year after year. It's going to be the same thing. And I think a lot of that is because of the process. I know it's like the process is so cliche. No, it's a systematic approach to winning. And Nick Saban continues to do that at a yearly basis. Call line is open, 205-850-0883. That's the number at the bottom of the screen. Appreciate everyone who has called in tonight. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We got John behind the glass producing the show tonight. We had some great content early on as we kind of talked about, this kind of a little bit more in depth with Mick Gillespie, and he'll have some great content planned with you, including another live show that you can check out. It's actually pre-recorded, but it's with Andrew Bone. That'll be coming up your way on Thanksgiving. So if you're around before you have Thanksgiving with your loved ones, definitely check it out. And we also have our NFL show. And I believe we should have some Alabama basketball updates. Do we? Can we get some? Okay, there we go. Because Alabama's playing their season opener. So there's John right on the money. Alabama 18, Jacksonville State 12, 11:30 in the first half. So I appreciate, Alabama basketball fans. I know they're out there. We have a podcast out on basketball, so you should definitely go check it out. Let's get back to Saban real quick while we wait for our next call. I believe we're at the 2:16 mark. I wrote it down. And here's his presser as we continue.
Their energy, their eye discipline,
with Saban.
The preparation they have.
Let me get that to 2:16. Do a lot of this on the fly. So let's see if we can get right there. All right, here's Saban.
Jeff Spiegel. Go ahead, Jeff. Jeff, unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Nick, what are you going to miss the most about not coaching next?
I'm going to do everything I can to stay involved in the game. I went through this for 3 days before the Georgia game, but was fortunate enough to test out and have a false positive, so I didn't miss that game, even though I was sort of mentally prepared for it. It's not about me. It's really about the players. I want to be there for the players to try to help them be able to play the best, to inspire them any way that you can as a coach and a teacher, to get the best out of them so that, they have the best opportunity to be successful. I know how important it is for a lot of them. And I know how difficult it is sometimes when you have disruptions to, overcome those. But we have a lot of very capable coaches, and the biggest thing I'm going to miss about it is being with our players, being a part of our team, and helping those players have the best opportunity to be successful.
Okay, we'll go to Michael Casagrande.
Yes, Nick, I was just wondering how you're going to deal with the logistics of watching the game. Will you be watching it alone? Keep the sound up on the broadcast? How do you plan on viewing the game?
Well, we can actually pipe the game in. You can't see much on TV. So we'll get the same – I'll have the same feed that, we take of the game, which is the film that we watch on Sunday. So I'll be able to see a little bit more what's happening, kind of like if you're in the press box type of thing. So I can't really have any communication during the game or at halftime. So we'll do the best we can to try to analyze what's happening and see if there's any way that we could, be of some kind of use. But I have confidence in our coaches and our players that, they'll be able to do what they have to do. I mean, we all got to live with the consequences of what happens, whether I'm standing there or not. So that's something I hope everybody realizes.
All right, that's Nick Saban, and you can watch that press conference in its entirety back at BamaInsider.com. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hey, I also wanted to say that, with a lot of your contributions via Super Chat, we were able to take care of a family and make sure that they get more food on their table down in Mobile, Alabama. So, I always want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, not only during the holiday season, but I think that giving is something that we could all do. And, we've certainly been blessed to build up a great product, but build up a lot of friends and build up a lot of people that have contributed to, the website overall. So, there's a special family down in Mobile, Alabama that we've taken care of. And, I get really excited to know that, that family is going to have more on their plate because of, all the contributions right here on BamaInsider.com. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys have had a fantastic show tonight. I know there's a lot to go over and to divulge, and Prayers up for everybody that, might be going through difficult times during this particular period. I know that 2020 has been difficult for a lot of people to manage, but remember, there are people out there that you can talk to. There are people that are caring about you. There are people that are praying for you. So let's continue to stay united, as we kind of move forward. Nick Saban has tested positive for COVID-19. I know that's a story, that's leading kind of the nation. So we'll continue to keep you updated moving forward with any new developments or maybe, contact tracing or what have it back at BamaInsider.com. My name is Kyle Henderson. My email, I think I have it on a banner somewhere. If you want to contact me and, get any questions about becoming a premium member to BamaInsider.com, of course, you can hit the join button at the bottom of this video to become a member of our YouTube channel. But of course, all the coverage back at BamaInsider.com. We got a great promo running right now. When you sign up for BamaInsider.com, an annual subscription, which is usually $100, it's only $75 right now. And you also get a $75 gift card to Nike/Converse. So you can go and get some team gear, some Alabama gear. And now is a perfect time with the holiday season coming up. So definitely check all that stuff out. We appreciate, the calls tonight and the super chats. I'm really grateful that you guys are here tonight on our channel watching Bama Insider and talking about the Iron Bowl. More coverage coming your way on BamaInsider.com. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson.